So it's really going to be up to you. Going back to the screen. And then we did 3 lessons, an IXL, and a quiz. So again, make sure if you're having troubles getting logged into IXL or you don't know how to do that, please reach out, let me know, ask. Try the review on your own, okay? Try this review on your own. This is the answer key. And then here's a video that I made as I'm going through and answering it as well. So definitely, if you can do this all super good on your own, you'd be ready to go ahead and move into your quiz. So what we're going to do today is we're going to review real quick a couple of those ideas, and I'm going to get you guys some practice problems. I want you to try some. So make sure if you don't have something to write with, a pencil, a piece of paper, something like that, go ahead, grab that now as we're going to go get started. All right. I know last week I had a little bit of trouble sharing my screen. I updated my iPad and everything seems to be working great now. So that's again kind of a super, it's like a cheat code. If you're ever having troubles, check to see if your device needs to be updated. All right, so one of the first things we talked about in Unit 5 is writing and simplifying ratios. There's a couple ways they can be written. Commonly, we use them as fractions, or we use, I don't know a better way to say it, but we use something called a colon. So a fraction, it's going to be something like 8 over 20. And when we have these ratios, again, 8 to 20, that's my ratio. I usually want to try to simplify that down as best as I can. So I think about what are all the things that make up 8 that can multiply to get 8? What are all the things that can break up and multiply 20? Find the biggest one, that's going to be 4. So I'm going to divide the top and the bottom by 4 and get, hey, if I have a ratio of 8 to 20, that's actually the same exact thing as saying 2/5. We could also get something written like this, 200 to 250. So these 2 dots in here, again, that's kind of like an English term. It's a colon. Really, what it means is we're comparing 200 to 225. Who's got an idea? What's something, a multiple in common between 200 and 225? Type in the chat. What do you think? What's something in common between these? 50? That's a good start. All right. Grayson, they both end in 0. They're both multiples of 50. If I divide this by 50, I'm going to get 4. And if I divide this by 50, I'm going to get 5. So my reduced ratio would be 4/5. Bobby, you absolutely could do 5, but then you'd have to do it again. So if you divided by 5, you'd have to divide by most likely a 10, and then you could reduce it down. So it's just one extra step. That's why we try to always pick the biggest one. That was kind of like lesson 1. Okay, lesson 2, we talked about solving proportions. So there's kind of a key word we use when we try to solve proportions. Does anyone know? It's a hyphen. Does anyone know what I'm trying to say? Cross what? What do we do when we try to solve proportions?
Multiply.
Yeah, cross multiply. That's going to be our key. So your answer may come as a word problem. Your answer may come already with the proportion given, or excuse me, the question. But however it's given, you got to try to set something up so that something equals something. That's going to be your goal. And then again, our top is called our numerator. The bottom is called the denominator. So if I said, okay, I know that let's see here, 3/6 equals, I don't know, let's say x over 36. One way to do it is to cross multiply. So take 3 times 6 and take 6 times 6 and set them equal to each other. 3 times 36 equals 6 times x. 3 times 36, Had a question on if we can use calculators or not. You can use calculators this unit. So absolutely, if that's going to help you. And then you could divide both sides by 6 and get the answer of 18. That's one way to solve this problem. Who can look at this exact same problem and describe to me maybe a slightly different way to solve this problem? Does anyone have any ideas? Looking for a volunteer.
Could divide
Divide what?
36 and 6.
Okay, and then we would get what?
6.
So is that what our answer is?
Then would you times that by 3?
That's what you would have to do to get it. Yep, because our answer is 18. I'm looking for something called the scale factor. Does anyone have any ideas about the scale factor? If I look at this fraction, I have everything I know, 3 over 6. So this 6 is going to have to equal 36. What would I do for 6 to equal 36?
Multiply it by 6.
Multiply by 6. And if I do anything in my denominator, because I got to keep it equal to itself, right? If I do anything in my denominator, what should I also do in the numerator?
The same thing.
The same exact thing. So another way to solve this problem is to find something called the scale factor. And I get, hey, 3 times 6 is 18, 6 times 6 is 36. Guess what? X over 36 is going to equal 18. So that is another way that you can look at these proportions is say, can I multiply by a certain number on the top and bottom to get it equal to itself? All right, I'm going to put up some practice problems. Let me see. I think it's this one. Yep. Let's go ahead. I want you to try on your own. Try number 7 and number 8. Okay, let's try number 7 and number 8. Oh, I see. I'm not sharing the right screen. All right, this will help. Hi, Corbin. Welcome. We're practicing solving some proportions right now. We're working on number 7 and number 8. Keep working. I'm just going to flip over to my notepad so that we can solve them together. Keep working if you're not done yet. All right, so the first one, I already have it highlighted here. If I were to cross multiply, 7 times x gives me 7x. 5 times 6 is 30. My goal is to get x by itself. So the opposite of multiplying by 7 is to divide by 7. Okay. Anything I do on the left side, I have to do on the right side, which means I'm going to get 30 over 7. Now that could be a correct answer, but let's try to simplify it. How many times does 7 go into the number 30? How many whole numbers can we pull out of this 30?
4.
4. So if I take away, and again, 7 times 4 is 28. I've got 4. 30 minus 28 is 2. I have 2 left over. I have 4 and 2/7. So x in this case is 4 and 2/7. Same thing on number 8. I'm going to cross multiply. 6 times 5n is 30n. 5 times 2 is 10. I'm going to separate my left side and my right side. And anything I do on the left, I'm going to do on the right. 30 times n, I'm going to get n by itself by dividing by 30. And who can tell me what's 10 divided by 30 simplified?
3.
The zeros cancel out and it's really 1/3.
Oh,
30 divided by 10 would be 3. 10 divided by 30 is 1/3. All right. Last thing that we were going to kind of talk about was similar figures, and it's related to the scale drawings. So similar figures, how they're connected is that our ratio of sides are the same. So if I can find similar sides, I can set up a proportion and solve it that way. So in this example, let's say that AB is 15, BC is, hold up. Let's say that AB is 10, BC is 12, and AC is 15. On my smaller triangle, my purple triangle, I'm going to say that this is going to be, let's see here, divided by 3. We'll say, call this one 4, and I want to figure out what this one is. We don't need DE right here. So I'm going to say, all right, what are my similar sides? What sides are related to each other? BC is related to or is corresponding to EF. So these two sides I can set up in a relationship. AC is corresponding to DF. So I can set those up as a relationship as well. Now I'm going to plug in what I know. I know that BC is 12 and EF is 4. I know that AC is 15 and DF is X. This looks exactly like something that we just did where we have to cross multiply and solve. 60 equals 12x. And then if I divide by 12, I get 5 equals x. So you can use relationships, you can use proportions to solve. This is actually geometry. You guys are doing geometry right now. Awesome. All right, I've got practice for us. So I'm going to get it pulled up. I'm going to put a link in the chat and we'll get a pretty good minute, maybe about 4 or 5 minutes of practice time. Let me find it. Similar figures. There it is. Continue. All right, posting in the chat box. Now go ahead, click this link in the chat, and we will get some practice. Oof. All right, sweet. I see you guys joining. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen. So if you're watching the recording, you can scroll through some of these questions and try some of these questions on your own. We've got 6 people in right now. That's great. Let's get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, all 10 of us in. We've got 8 right now. Keep working. Again, if you're watching the recording, get to a question, pause, try again. Get to a question, pause, try it, hit the play button. Again, if you want to use a calculator to speed this up, you are allowed to, okay? Once you set up the proportion, feel free to use your calculator. Let's go about 1 more minute. I know you're not going to finish. That is a-okay. I'm not expecting you to finish. We're going to talk about our Class Connect assignment to wrap up. All right. Awesome job. Thank you for participating. Great work. Again, use this as just kind of a self-reflection for yourself. I feel like I'm getting it, or maybe I need a little bit more practice. Kind of just use that to help yourself determine where you're at. How do you get your credit, right? Everyone has to do the Class Connect assignment. So if we look on Schoology, there's this folder, quarter 2 Class Connect assignments. Okay, today's assignment, 12/8. Our third Class Connect of quarter 2. Publish, there it goes. If I click on it, there are a couple questions about the stuff we just worked on. Okay. First part, these shapes are similar, so you got to figure out what X is. I would say, all right, if this is 10 and this is 40, I have to multiply to get something. 14 times something is 56. Well, to figure out X, I would say 3 times that same number and get X. Set up a proportion, okay? Inches wide by inches long. This would be a fraction. 4/5 equals 120 over X. 4/5 equals 120 over X. And you can solve that. And then the last one, this one again, if you need to use a calculator, there's one right here. The distance between two cities is 4.125 inches. Find the actual distance if the scale on the map is 2 inches equals 40 miles. Again, set up a proportion. Inches on top, miles on the bottom. 2/40 equals 4.125 over X. Cross multiply and solve. I would use this calculator to help. All right. Good luck. That's all I've got for you today. We will have one more Class Connect next week before the end of the quarter. Okay. So if you need help before then, please reach out. Please let me know. Otherwise, I will see you again next week.
Thank you. Have a good rest of your day.
You too, Jacob.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, Russell. Bye, Bobby. All right. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today's Thursday. Let me pause and then